Cascade Head Scenic Research Area was the first of its kind in the nation.
Wendell Wyatt basically said it's the last remaining intact or undeveloped estuary on the West Coast.
There's nowhere else like it that has both scenic focus as well as research focus and values.
And I can't believe how thoughtful it was, how far-looking it was.
Today we look out and we see a working estuary that's been very productive.
The research that we're creating now, recently, is being exported to other communities. So, it's not just about Cascade Head.
This day has been a very long time in coming. It's thanks to the vision and foresight of those that came before us 5 decades ago. Chesser was an experiment. It was a radical idea that worked.
We've preserved this beautiful area for posterity, right? And then to talk about how we continue that and what future management is going to look like, given that so much has changed since 1974.
But how do we apply what we can learn from the interactions and the connections here to the more developed landscapes?
We all have to act as if what we do makes a difference, because that's the only way we can be.
50 years ago, these people were taking critical steps to preserve the really very special environment that we enjoy here on the coast.
What an amazing event. I mean, it was lovely to see so many people come out to celebrate Cascade Head and spend time as a community learning together about the history and the ecology and the research.
The Forest Service really welcomes the partnerships that we have already, and we also would love to develop new partnerships so that we can address the challenges of tomorrow together. It will take all of us, as it always has, to maintain this wonderful place.
My apologies in advance for exposing you to some graphs, but I'm a scientist. Hey, what can I say? It's what I do. So much of our short history has been about control. What this place has taught us is that easing back on that control and allowing us to adapt to that system can have some great benefits. When this concept of a scenic research area came up, Wendell Wyatt, in his wisdom and ability to translate it to Congress, I think, mentioned the scenic part, but really dove into the science part of it at a time when there was a whole lot of work going on up throughout the United States about coastal resources. The Coastal Zone Management Act happened, that the Marine Mammal Protection Act happened, that the National Estuarine Research Reserve Program happened. This all came there, and Wendell must have been well aware that this would be a time when there would be a receptive audience on a national level to protect a tiny estuary on the Oregon coast in Congress. Chesser gives us a real good case study in how diversity works and provides incredible resilience if you allow it to operate. And I think that message applies to people as well as it does to other organisms.
People ask me all the time now, how do you just pick up what we did in the Salmon River Estuary and do it somewhere else or everywhere else or many more places with climate change and questions of resilience and fear of so much of what's already happening in the face of climate change? And I say those 4 elements were critical to the Salmon River Estuary, but even more than that, it was the love of this place.
Well, my hope for Chesra for the next 50 years is that they, the collective they, can still be as innovative and as forward-thinking. Highway 101 is still an earthen dam across the estuary that divides it in two. The bridge under 101 is quite small for tidal sheet flow, either during a freshwater event or a tidal event or both. It's built not to geotechnical standards of today, so there's a lot of learning that could happen.
These are all just my own stuff from my house. Our tribal histories are a lot of times tough to hear. I try to soften the language around things that actually happen just so people can stay open to listening.
So it started out at 1.1 million acres from Cape Lookout down to and including the Silkus River watershed. And then within the first 20 years, we lost basically 3/4 or so of our permanent reservation land base.
There were negative impacts on tribal families that lived up here on their original allotment lands. When Chisra was established, it negated a bunch of tribal member leases. Some of those cemeteries with the associated families are past capacity. And so the act itself has kind of been a barrier to an easy process for tribe to acquire bits of land to expand those cemeteries and those families to continue use of those places.
I know we're in a period of political correctness and inclusion, but there's important distinctions between our interests of the tribes in this area. This is Silet's reservation land, and most of which was basically grabbed from us.
You know, the tribe wants to be a full partner in all these efforts and be able to support the work, and hopefully we get support in our efforts along the way as well.
We use a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The Sustainable Development Goals, they basically are one of the most sophisticated blueprints in the world for a different relationship between humans and the natural habitat they belong in. I want to say that we belong here just like any other species. It's how we're here that needs some serious revision and looking at. And so these 17 Sustainable Development Goals were originally from UNESCO. They're now being used by multiple countries and multiple corporations all over the world because they work. Our core programmatic pillars, we could have done a million different things. What we came up with was this is the need within the community. Education, a whole systems approach to K through 8, sort of a 21st century version of environmental ed. At the intersection of the arts and sciences. So it's not just intellectual, it's also, we say lower in the body, moving them lower in the body. Climate. No one involved with place can ignore what's happening in our climate. And so the Forecast Project is a unique project in the United States in terms of cross-referencing data, thermal data across 4 habitats and then coming up with insights and solutions based on that. And then community engagement, exhibits, workshops, art on the beach, and that's art illuminating science in action. We have a speaker series, and then we have watershed and estuary experiences for people to go on, including the program that we've developed of experiences with Lincoln City, Explore Lincoln City as our partner.
We really need the local community to be a part of Cascade Head's future imagining. What do we want this place to be? How do we want to be in it together? How do we manage it through climate change and ensure that our children are learning about it?
The future is in the kids. There's a lot of other stuff we're going to do. We're going to do the climate work. We're going to do, the community engagement. It's all super important stuff. It's the kids. Just to foster a deeper relationship with a living planet.